You're listening to Overflow from Riverside Church.
Hey, welcome to the Overflow podcast. Is a Fresca a soda?
Soda, water.
It says soda water.
Come on.
0 calories.
Just let me have this.
Lots of aspartame.
It's a soda, Adam.
I know.
We are
I'm on this
currently debating
journey.
whether or not Adam is still off the bandwagon of having sodas or not.
I think
And
it's a
he's-
fridge cigarette, but
It's
It
a
is a
fridge
fridge
cigarette,
cig.
as
Grapefruit
It's a fridge
flavor
cig.
says.
That's
Yeah.
a Diet Coke. Fridge
That's a
cig
Diet
is
Coke.
a
A
Diet
fridge
Coke.
cig. Something to take the edge off.
The reality is Adam feels good about himself, and he's trying to say that a Fresca is not because it has the word water on it.
Come on, man.
But it's actually a soda
Yeah.
water,
I know.
which means, dude, you're drinking
It's
a Coke.
kids camp week. Let me have this.
You're drinking a Coke, man.
and fair
I know.
disclosure to the pod, he is kind of hopped up on extra strength Tylenol.
I did take
right
some
now.
extra strength Tylenol.
He took both of them. He didn't
I
just
did.
take one. He took both
So
pills.
who knows where today's going to
Two
go.
extra strings out. This is
Yeah.
why we're starting off the podcast.
We are
this
off the
way.
rails
Yeah.
today. already.
Man, Overflow Podcast is where we dive a little bit deeper
Let's
into
go.
what's a soda and what's not. Also, what we are preaching and teaching on the weekend. We are walking through Joseph right now. Funny enough, I don't know if you guys have had this, but I've had so many people that are like, golly, I'm loving walking through Joseph. Like
Yeah.
random people that have been around the Bible for a long time.
Right.
New people that are walking through like challenging times in their life. I mean, I've got some like these people are in their mid 80s. Actually, I'm sorry. I think it's late 80s. And they're like, man, there's some things I did not know about Joseph in that. And I think the reality is we like read quickly through it.
Yeah.
And when you slow down,
Yep.
and it's an impactful story
Yeah.
account. I don't like to use the word story a lot. It's an impactful account of his life. But the reality is sometimes when there's such a big picture of what happened with Joseph, you can lose the details. You know what I'm saying? And so you can forget that. You could forget that Michael Jordan played for the Washington Wizards because his career was so fantastic.
Probably should forget it.
But
I had forgotten.
Yeah, but he did, you know? And so it's like, but the reality is like you can forget all that happened to Joseph and some of the nuances and what that meant because of how impactful the account of what happened in his life was. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks because we're going to do some deep dive in on what this week's actually kind of brought about for the Hebrew Israelite people. But that's just a little tease. See how we did
Teaser.
that?
Let's
You
go.
know, come back in a couple of weeks
Come on
and
back.
we'll tell you a little bit more about
Yeah,
that.
man.
Also, the tribes, the 12 tribes, and the depth that are
calm
there. I cannot
down.
wait to
Who's
tell
the
you who's a
greatest
Benjaminite.
squad?
I think I'm a Benjaminite.
Get ready.
And anyways,
I'll take
so
Gad.
hey,
just trying to
so
Gad.
let's start off with this. Joseph is now having, as Josh you referred to earlier, his what crisis?
Oh, his quarter life
He's
crisis.
having his quarter life
Yeah.
crisis.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Although
he's,
life expectancy back then.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
it's
Did I
a
get
quarter
that wrong?
life.
I mean, I
He
don't-
was 110.
How old is he now?
I mean, he's
30.
30.
He's 30.
He
You
lived to
know?
be 110.
Yeah. I mean,
He lived to be 110?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarter
Okay.
life.
I mean, for sure. And
Yeah.
so he's in.
Literally.
And but it's wild here because you do like he's this. It's a rags to riches story, and he's now on the front end of the riches for what he's about to do in this week. Right? He's getting put in charge of all of the land. Again. I mean, his life is getting better at this point, but everybody else is like, dude, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law was traveling out of town with Paxton, and she said, I feel like Paxton is Joseph because all I've had to do everywhere we've been is worry about eating and paying for the meal because he got her
Yes,
everywhere.
so good.
They went to London and they went to Silverthorne and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, and I was like, you listen to my messages, man. And so shout out, Meg.
Shout out, Meg.
And but he's making everything better. He does
He's
the
a
same
young
thing again.
man, very handsome.
Yeah, very
What was
very well built.
Well built
and
and
handsome,
Yep.
which makes
Shout out
What do you mean by
yeah,
that?
shout out
Moses?
Paxton. Well, according to Potiphar's wife,
That's true.
Look out, Paxton. We should be saying.
and anyways, and so he's 30 now, and he's finally getting to the point. So 17-year-old, kid essentially is now in his 30s. He's been through a tough time.
Let's also recognize that if you're 30 right now and listening to the pod and you think your life has not quite
Bro.
yet turned out the way that you think it should,
Yeah, man.
it's not this bad.
Let's go.
Josh, when you
That's so
were
good.
17, what did you want to be when you got older?
I want to be a pastor. I felt called.
Did
at
you
15.
really?
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I'm living the
Josh.
dream.
Come on, man. That's great.
Tell me more about
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I wanted to be an aerospace engineer before that.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna go
Cool.
with that first.
Yeah.
It
Go
didn't.
for it.
That
Yeah,
didn't
there
work
you
out.
go.
Yeah, work back to 14.
Yeah,
yeah.
that didn't work
work
out.
out. Yeah.
So I mean,
I also hated math. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah,
wow, that's kind of
I was
crucial.
like, I don't really like math, but it'd be cool if somebody let me design a jet.
So I think we didn't talk about this,
Just
but
let me try.
I shared with some young adults, most of them under the age of 25, last night. And so
Wait, are you guys not going to share what you wanted to be as teenagers?
Oh,
You
I
guys
can.
just gonna
I can.
throw
Go
me
ahead.
out
I
there?
wanted to be-
I'm getting to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Adam.
Sports management, business side of sports things.
Yo,
And then took
Hold on.
accounting. Yeah.
have we like actually talked about this? I know you worked in the athletic department, but like I thought you were just always history.
No, not always.
Huh.
When I was 17. Now, when I got into
Wild.
college, then it was history. So, freshman year,
We've not talked about this.
I
Isn't
know,
that
not
your
fun.
undergrad?
Yeah,
Well-
this is why I'm like, what?
well, I wanted to be like
Why are you holding out,
ops
dude?
side of things
I've known
with
you
like
for 9 years.
I
You're
know.
holding out.
I wanted to be in the ops side of things for athletic stuff, and got in, took accounting.
Mm.
It's like this
Killed
is
you.
not it. So switched from, and at the time, UT's business school
That's my
was
worst
one of the-
grade
one of the best.
in college.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Was it
dude. I
really?
was like,
Accounting
oh,
was
I'm
terrible.
not for this.
And I was
Statistics
working at
was
the
not
church
great.
where she went, and
Yeah.
she was one of my Sunday school leaders that I was overseeing.
Whoa,
Oh,
That was tough.
that's awkward.
so
yeah, and then get around athletics. You're like, oh wow, I want a little bit more of a life. I think so.
So very pertinent to this conversation. So this is actually not too far off the rails because yes. So from the time I was little, I asked my dad who managed the money of pro athletes.
Yeah,
Jerry Maguire, baby, is what I wanted to do. I actually
That was
wanted to
you.
be Jerry Maguire before Jerry
Agent
Maguire came
Phillips
out.
has a good name.
Yeah,
to
like
it.
I literally wanted to
Agent
be a
Phillips.
sports agent my whole life.
That's cool.
And then I got to college. I did sport management undergrad. Then I was getting ready to and got accepted to Memphis Law School. And then I had a conversation with a guy named Kyle Rote, who was over athletic resource management. I got connected to him because there's a guy named Jimmy Sexton. He's a big agent in the sports world. He, like at one point, he had 12 of the 14 SEC head football coaches.
Wow.
He also had Scottie Pippen at one point. He had Reggie White. Like he was a big agent, but he had a lot of Tennessee guys because he went to Tennessee. So and that's how he got Reggie
Yeah, he
White.
did.
His first player was Reggie White from the University of Tennessee. So he lived in Memphis, and I got connected to him through a bunch of people when I worked in the athletic department doing my undergrad. But Kyle Rote was a Christian. And so I went to interview for the job and then do this interview for one of my classes and all this kind of stuff. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you love Jesus?" And I was like, "Well, why are you asking me that?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "My life wouldn't look like it. Like you wouldn't necessarily know it from all the things. I'm not super engaged, but yeah, I gave my life to Christ at 10, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "What about family? Like how important is family to you?" And I'm like, "What are you, dude, I am interviewing to be an agent."
Yeah.
And I said, well, I said, my parents have been married their whole life. It's been a prime importance to focus on marriage in this type of way. So I said, like, I can't wait to get married and have kids, all these types of things. I wasn't dating anybody at the time. And I think I was this was right before I started dating Libby. And he said, "Well, I advise you not to do it." And I was like, "Well, that's a bummer." And then he talked about travel. They travel 300 days out of the year. Everyone that he knows usually ends up in divorce. Most of the ones are there, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And so like it literally took me away from law school. I went and did my master's in sport management. I was going to be an athletic director. And so I went to work in the athletic department in Tennessee, got a job making $24,000 a year, working about 100 hours a week.
Checks out for
And then I was like, I want to be an agent. And then I realized that a sports athletic director. And then I realized that to do that, I was going to have to move 100 times.
Yeah.
Because you got to go from this place to that place to this place to that place. And family was important to me. And so like I literally was just like, I don't want to do this. Had a headhunter call me about sales because I was doing sales and marketing at UT. And I got into medical devices. And so 2 degrees in sport management, almost went to law school, ended up in med sales.
There we go.
Know nothing about
Classic
medical.
path.
Yeah, classic
Yeah,
path,
man.
easy path in. Then ended up being called into full-time ministry, right?
Yeah.
So it is like, to your point, like I think there's a lot of 25 and unders that are like, I gotta have my life figured out.
Yeah.
And it's because they see everybody else and they're like, dude, you don't realize that like I was 32 or 3 before I really got into ministry. And
Same with Jesus.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't die.
Yeah.
And 32 or 33 before I got into what I'm doing for the rest of my life. And everybody feels like they got to at 22 figure out their whole life.
Yeah.
And I am like Joseph is 30. And like he's just now getting to a point where he's got any like what the world would say is favor.
Another comparison to Jesus.
Yeah, dude.
pretty wild.
Jesus
Jesus is the greater Joseph.
So what would you tell a young adult listening that's struggling right now, or even someone that's like going through a quarter or midlife crisis about what to do? What would you tell them about staying the course, being obedient, staying faithful, in the same way that we see Joseph in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Joseph just relies on God the entire time. I think, Chris, you brought up earlier that like he doesn't really talk about himself when he's even answering these dreams. He's like, God's going to answer this dream for you. And so he's just totally dependent on God this entire time. None of this is what he planned, and it's way better than he ever could have expected. You know, like Egypt is such a powerhouse at this time. For him to be over there while people are starving to death back in like Canaan is crazy. But then for him to be number 2 in the kingdom is just insane. And all he had to do was just suffer. So sorry to the 25-year-old. That's a part of the life. Like, that's how it goes. You suffer and you depend on God.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, what would you add? Because you're living it.
Yeah.
How old are you?
30.
Wow. Do you
30.
feel a quarter-life crisis?
Kind of.
I think you're going to make it to 110.
Not if I keep drinking Frescas.
No, man, that's
right.
diet.
No, that's right. 100%.
I don't know how aspartame does it, but anyway, continue.
A diet soda is fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Quarter-life
good.
crisis. You're Joseph right now. What do you? How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel still. There's a lot of like even recently in my life, probably within the last year, there's been a lot of like, oh, this is actually a solidified thing that's gonna happen. You know, I feel pretty secure in job and career calling in ministry. Feel secure in stepping into marriage soon and all those things. But even within that, there's still soon, define soon, I guess, not soon enough on my end. I'm like, come on, we should go to the courthouse.
You heard it here.
Good luck with that.
Probably,
Good luck with that.
Great
Yeah.
luck with that.
Yeah.
But even in that, it's like,
She's
I've
been thinking about it
found
since she was 2.
Yeah, 100%.
Good luck with that.
She was 2.
Yeah. And that's just not her, just everyone.
100%. But I think it's like, even in those things, there's still going to be seasons where you don't know exactly how it's going to play out.
Sure.
I think when you're in your 20s, it's like, oh, by the time I get to this spot in this area with this amount of things going, then I'll really know what my life's going to look like. And it's just like, there's probably things even now that you guys look ahead and you're like, I don't know exactly how this is going to play out. That's just life. It's seasons of, you're solidified in one area, but then you're also still having to trust in the Lord. You know, when kids come, when, things happen unexpectedly, there's always going to be seasons that you're looking ahead, having to rely on God with,
That you're like simultaneously like getting more and more agency over your life the older and older that you get.
Right.
But I think you're also getting more comfortable with the unknown.
Yeah,
At least
right.
That's
been my
really good.
experience.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting older and older, and I'm like, yeah, this would have really freaked me out not knowing what's going to be next,
if this was 10 years ago.
I think God gave me just a real peace a little while ago in just this regard, because I was having a conversation with a young adult that life was not going to according to plan. This is a year or so ago. And exactly what you're saying, I think the reality is, I don't even know if it's just like uncomfortability. I think I have so many more years of God's faithfulness in my life.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
so
it.
I think what it is I'm going back and going, dude, he's been faithful before. He's going to be faithful again. I don't need to worry. He's going to be there. And I do think that when you're in your 20s, you're not far removed from living with your parents. So your faithfulness was tied. You were tethered to your parents in that way. So you get into your early 20s and now you're on your own and you don't have a lot of experience yet of God's faithfulness while you're on your own. Yeah. So like you feel untethered from your parents and that safety net. And you do agree that God is good and is going to take care of you, but like you've yet to really like experience all those moments and seasons. That's why I tell people to be engaged for at least 4 seasons, because you can know what it's going to be like with that person in those times and what they're going to do when they have a problem, what they're going to do when this issue arises or whatever else. It's like there's seasons of life. And so like, hey, 4 seasons, be like, what's going to come over the course of a year. And so I think it's just the life experience of God's faithfulness that turns us to that, which is also fascinating with Joseph. Like he's now 30. It's been 20 years, and I'm like, brother, you are still remaining, you still believe in God's faithfulness, and it has not seemed to play out that way in your life, but trusting it, that way. And so, I think it's a reality. Like I've just seen God prove himself faithful over and over again. So I have a bigger comfortability in the unknown, just going, okay. And then I think the thing is like, man, do what you're passionate about, do what you love and God's gifted you at. And like he literally is going to take care of the rest. And and so don't figure it out. Jeff Bezos, I say it all the time, my overnight success took 10 years is his famous quote. And it's like, dude, you like everything that the world, I feel bad for people that are younger because they are actually seeing all of the best. They're seeing like, they don't know reality versus Instagram. They believe that Instagram is reality. And the fact of the matter is it's not. And so,
There's a little bit of a like burden of choice that we live with nowadays too, because it does feel like you can do anything in the world, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Especially Americans.
Yeah, I was really bad at math and thought I could be an aerospace engineer. You know, like I was just like, no,
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want to do, right?
Yeah.
Why though? Because this is the stupid thing we say. I say this all. You haven't heard me say this yet, but I've said this from the stage. I hate that statement when we tell kids you can be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
Brother, I want to play in the NBA.
Yeah,
I am a 5'9" white
should.
dude that's 45 years old. I can't be anything I want to be.
yeah. Right. Dream it.
Dreaming it,
man.
it's going to happen.
Dream it.
I think you're
Yeah.
right though.
Yeah,
I think you're
yeah.
100% right.
And I'm wondering with Joseph, like he was good at these things that he did. I don't know that he woke up one day when he was 13. Well, I guess he did have a dream,
Yeah.
but
True.
I don't know that he just desired. He
Yeah.
was like, it'd be cool as if I was number 2 in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Probably
yeah.
wasn't on his radar.
It'd be really good if I was like the head manager of a rich guy's house.
Be cool
and-
if my dad bowed down to me.
Yeah.
I think I'll get a job for that.
That's
I
right.
mean, he didn't say that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you're exactly
But obviously,
right.
like he had like skills and giftings in
Yeah.
these roles that he was in. He was like just some sort of Uber manager, and
Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
like lead and direct people and plan strategically and stuff like that. So he kept rising through the ranks. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of a burden that we have living in modern day America, that we sit down when we're 18 and we're like, what is it that I would like to do?
Yeah.
Not even really what are we good at? What are
Yeah.
we? And then life just takes us on journeys, which is why like we're all sitting right here at this table today.
Yeah.
It was not like in our
Yeah.
plan when we
Never.
were 16 to be like right here exactly where we are. So
yeah. Yeah.
Although
I-
I'm glad we are.
yeah.
I am too. Yeah, yeah.
Drinking diet sodas and having a
Come
great
on,
time.
man.
Yeah,
And
come
whatever Spindrift is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think you're 100% right. And I think some of it is like just grit and hard work too. I think,
Yeah.
Joseph, like it's like work hard at what you're doing and you're going to ultimately be in the right place at the right
Yeah.
time.
That's so
And,
true.
Yeah.
Don't get like dissatisfied when you're
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
wrong place.
Yeah.
Because like him working hard is what afforded him these future
100%,
opportunities,
right.
right?
Well, and it's like, when you look at it, like, we can false equate probably Joseph's story even in our lives. It's like, hey, Joseph was in the prison. He had one door to open for him, like literally the
Right.
dungeon door.
Yikes.
And now it's like we've got so many doors that we probably could take or, should take, or should I do this? And I think it can shackle us where we're like, yeah, I feel Joseph's pain here. And it's like, we're not in literal prisons right now. Some throughout the world are, but it's like sometimes those things like that false equivalence can get us out of the mindset of like, oh, I actually have to get free of what God's trying to free me from, to like, we're just waiting for a better opportunity or a better job. And like God wants more than that for us. And I think we just got to be careful not to be shackled with just the opportunities that are abundant in the culture that we live in. Because like at the end of the day, when you look at this, like we say this on Sunday, God is actually using Joseph as he's freeing Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not just Joseph doing nothing and God is rescuing him. Now,
Free me, free
ultimately-
me, free me,
right.
free me.
Ultimately, it
I'm
is
free, now I'll
God
work.
that rescues us out of our own sin and our own death, all those things. But like the way that God frees Joseph is actually using him and his gifts for Pharaoh. It's wild how you look at it that way. And we just got to be reminded like, hey, God has something for me in the freedom that he's called me to, you know? So I think we can get shackled though with the opportunities that are abundant in our culture.
So here's what's interesting that I've never noticed before, and I was thinking about it as you were talking about this, that like we have a million opportunities.
Yeah.
Joseph only had one door to walk through,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
God was like, here
This is it.
And I think like there's a tension in living my life between like, do I just like sit around and wait for God to do something and just sort of like see what he's going to do and stuff. There was a guy that I was talking to one time. It's like a guy who's been in ministry for a very long time. And he was like, hey man, I've never applied for a job. And he was just like, and he's had a good life and done exactly, I think, what God has wanted him to do. But then I think there is a flip side, right? Where you have to take initiative and you have to do things.
Yeah.
I was struck by this, that like one of the commentaries I was reading said that with the dream that Pharaoh had, it called them to do something. And I think often when we think of like a dream from God, it's sort of like, God gives us this dream. Like Joseph, he kind of was a passive actor in the entire thing. And yet with Pharaoh, he had an opportunity hearing how God interpreted his dream through Joseph.
Do something.
I can do this or not.
Yeah.
You know, like
I can
he was
believe
given,
it. And
yeah. So how do you sort of balance like going after opportunities? Like think about even a person who is in a job right now. There's 17 million other jobs that they could apply for on LinkedIn, or they can sit around and wait for God to drop a job in their lap, like Joseph in the jail. Yeah. How do you advise them?
I mean, I've talked about this before. It's the old joke too, right? Of like, their house is being flooded, and you're in the house, and it gets a little bit higher, and the boat comes by, and you don't get on it. You're like, I'm just waiting on the flood to stop, and then it gets a little bit higher.
This is classic pastor story.
You know what I'm saying?
I forgot about this one.
And it like
God will protect us.
Safety. God's going to protect us. And then finally the guy's on the roof, and like he dies and gets to heaven, and he's like, man, I was waiting on you to protect us, God. And he's like, what did you think the boat, the helicopter, and all of these things were? And so it's like,
it's classic. I have not thought about that for a long time.
I think that's like, I think some people are like, they've got in their mind what they want to do. So I think it's nuanced, right? So nuanced, because it is like, what is the job that you're waiting to drop on your lap, or what do you go? I mean, I even think of like the business owners that we see and study. I mean, like, dude, like Schultz and Starbucks and the failures that came, and it's like, so they even went and tried on their dream, and it failed, and they used that failure to push them to the direction that ultimately got them to the end, right? Yeah. And so like I'm probably more wired like that. Yeah. So it's like hard for me, because I'm like, all right, I always say it a lot, like freedom to fail. I want to have the freedom to fail, because failure shows that you have stake in the game. MLB Hall of Famers, if you bat 300 for your career, you're probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. If you have a longer career, obviously if it's 1 or 2 years, probably not. But if you have a longer career and you bat 300, that means you got to hit 3 out of 10 times, but you failed 7 out of 10. Yeah. And so you've got to take cuts. You got to swing. You got to do that. And so sometimes I probably get more frustrated. Honestly, like I think it's a lack of faith. Sometimes, like I think some people can go, I'm going to try because I got a lack of faith. So it's like that tension of like trying with faith, because I actually have respect for the person that waits and just goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to sit where I am.
There's moments for that.
I'm going to wait on God to do it. Yeah. But I do think you have to like, there's something in you that you have to have the Holy Spirit telling you that that's what God's going to do. Yeah. And so I think that's where I don't even think it's like a stronger faith or a weaker faith. I just think I think God works in mysterious ways. And like, you know what? To this person, he is like, Joseph is going to wait on his opportunity. Yeah. And then, but also he wasn't. Yeah. Because he did really well with the cupbearer. He did really well with Potiphar. He did all of these things. So he was waiting on his opportunity while still showing up in the everyday. Yeah. And so maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to go out and work while I'm waiting on the job that I'm hoping for. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good answer, actually.
No, it's
really I think you hit on listening to the Holy Spirit there as well, right? Like there's probably going to be seasons where you're told to wait, and there's going to be seasons where you're told that you have freedom, you know? And in some ways, the being told you have freedom feels more daunting, at least to me. Maybe it's a personality thing.
Do you think America has almost like ruined us for this land of the free?
For sure.
And land of opportunity? I don't want to say ruined us. That sounds
bad.
We're
too soon after the 250 birthday. You're wearing an America hat.
I've got an American flag on. I'm drinking Pepsi, which is America's choice because it's red, white, and blue.
Gross, no.
But like there are times where I am like, dude, when like, when you study like space and like, people that talked about like some of the, like when you grew up on the farm and you had these things, or it was the factory working and it was all of this kind of stuff, there was a peace that you could have knowing that I don't have to create all of this stuff or think about these things. I don't know, like Wendell Berry type stuff, if you're reading it. And it's like, dude, there is this like peace of mind that I mean, is there a tie to anxiety now because people can't figure out what they want to do because we're in the land of opportunity and we can do all that? And it's almost like there is this freedom that at some point becomes this dividing line. I think, like, Josh, I respect that you were called to pastoring early and you pursued that. There's a peace that you have in that. Yep. And I think you didn't, because God called you into it. And so there's this, like, I do think that there is this piece of us living in this Americanized dream world where we can be anything, do anything that we want to be. That actually brings the anxiety that we have in the generations that we see now.
Right.
It also speaks to like the differences of way that God works through people, that we're both like, you and I are sitting here at this table. And like you said, at 15 years old, I'm like, I got a plan.
Our
like,
path here,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think in your plan, you had a lot of opportunities to just sort of like take other choices. And I did as well. Like there were moments of like wavering, I guess would be what I would describe my plan as. But like God didn't choose to reveal our plans to us at the same time. And there's just so much. There's always a temptation to be jealous of somebody else's pathway and somebody else's plan.
That's the worst part.
Yeah.
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 There's a totally different way that Joseph could have gotten to this position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Right.
wouldn't have his story now.
Correct.
He
Yeah.
could have
that's a
showed
good-
up and been like, hey, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
the-
I'm a dream guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I hear you like magic.
Love
He's a
magic.
big-
Do you?
Yeah.
You
Do you
like
guys
a
need me
big-
to do a trick right?
Do you have
no,
tricks?
I don't love magic.
Would you call yourself an illusionist?
But what about
Yeah,
magicians?
Yeah,
Illusionist.
magicians. They
In
have
this-
magicians
the right
in
term.
this, man.
There's magicians
Yeah.
in this.
Isn't that crazy?
Although, how magic are they? You know.
I mean,
Ooh, what's your
failed.
take on this? So when somebody is a magician
Oh, gosh.
in the Old Testament, do they have supernatural powers? Are they connected to a demon
Dude.
or are they a charlatan? Where are you at?
Where are you at on the scale? I think they are.
that's tough.
They are having the abilities of whatever God would just want them to have. I don't think they're
Dude,
doing.
Did you say
anything
big G God or little G God?
You took
I
my
think-
answer.
yeah,
You said
I think-
whatever
you're
God?
taking my answer.
No, whatever abilities they have is whatever God is allowing them to have.
I thought you said they had the abilities of whatever
No,
God
no,
is
no, no,
giving
no,
it. And I was
yeah.
like, hold the phone.
Hold on.
Lots of gods?
Yeah.
sorry. Continue. I got you.
No, yeah, whatever.
Very Buddhist tract we have. Going
Yeah,
on
there
here.
is nothing that they are doing or not doing that God is not just allowing in His sovereignty.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think, yeah.
Or they are demons.
in that world,
you know.
yeah. I mean, I think God is allowing it. I mean, obviously Egypt has power,
Yeah.
right? So we see a lot of these magicians with Egypt,
Yeah.
and in both of the real stories with the magicians doing and not being able to do some stuff, I think it's really like God showing how limited man is a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, we see that in
Yeah.
the like Moses story for sure
Correct.
when he like turns his staff into a snake and they're like, we can
Yeah.
do that too.
Yeah.
Then his snake eats theirs.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that
pretty
is
cool.
just-
I think it's like
yeah.
a showing of. I mean, it's a little bit like you talk about the gods. I mean, isn't it like the soaked wooden altar where bring your gods, let's
Yeah.
see it, and
Yeah.
then nothing happens. They get mocked, and then all of a sudden the whole thing gets consumed by
Yeah.
God Yahweh.
Well, and I think if
And-
that's
Yeah.
the only story that you have from the Bible, then you start thinking like other gods just don't exist. And hear me correctly, I believe in only one God.
Yeah.
But I think there are like other supernatural powers. I mean, there are demonic powers under the rule of Satan. Like,
100%.
Bible is clear on that. And so I think that there are ways in which human beings can tap into those powers.
100%.
And I think like stories like this just get me all kind of
Yeah.
obviously this story they're not powerful, but more the Moses story.
I mean,
or-
isn't it true that like we just want to believe there's not any of this going on?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
there is
modern day
only-
Americans
yeah.
like that story
Out of
makes
sight, out
us
of
feel
mind.
more comfortable because we're just
100%.
like, yeah, there
Yeah.
must be not other gods because that
Yeah.
fire didn't even start.
Right.
You know?
And even like, oh well, that was just some trick. Well, it's like it's not. And actually, I mean, Moses is writing this account too, but then obviously writes Exodus and that account also with those,
Yeah.
and so it's like he's clearly in tune with this.
Yeah.
And I think it's like we just like in our minds we don't want to believe that it can be true because we're like, well, no, there's just one. Well, no, there is only one Yahweh.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Yahweh, there is only one God.
Yeah.
In that sense,
Yeah.
but like. We're not saying that like these other things can't happen.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
just saying there's no God creator of the
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
100%.
And the evil one has power.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he has people that are working for him,
Yes.
both supernatural and natural, right?
Yep.
Like he is guiding and directing the hearts and minds of men.
Yeah.
In his opposition to God. And we know who the winner is at the end.
Yeah.
We know that God is ultimately more powerful than he even created Satan.
Right.
So like it can give us comfort in that, but we shouldn't ignore that it exists.
Right. And that like I think because we don't see that now, we believe it couldn't have happened back then.
Sure.
Well, the reality is like God changes a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Like
Or
Which
I
seems
mean,
like Satan's best strategy
Yeah.
for us now,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Like it's like he's slow playing right now so that we forget that he exists. Or
Yeah.
at least not so
Right.
overt as it was back then.
the
Correct.
number one thing Satan wants, I think, even Americans to think is that he doesn't exist.
yeah.
He's like, oh,
I mean,
you don't
That
believe in me?
Kaiser
I'm gonna run.
Soze
from you.
quote
Like
right
in
there.
this-
unusual suspects. What is
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at this point, like Egypt's greatest wisdom at this point with Pharaoh cannot do what God alone can.
No.
it? Yeah.
And that's like, this is the point that we're seeing here. I
Yeah.
think that's why Moses brings it into play. I think that's why it's even in Exodus. It's like, hey, the greatest people that Egypt and Pharaoh have access to
Yeah.
cannot do what God can.
They got nothing.
And when they do, yeah. I mean, I think so. I mean, it's unique. I was thinking about the Moses component
Yeah.
of what he like, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just him writing this.
What do you?
We're gonna
I'm
talk about it in a
curious.
couple weeks. Uh-oh.
I'm curious, even like as we see Pharaoh see Joseph and Joseph's God, like, and he acknowledges it. You know, how do you reconcile 38 where he says, can anyone find anyone like this, a man who has God's spirit in him? it's like, well, then why don't you start to believe, Pharaoh?
I mean,
Like,
but we see that over and over
we
again,
do.
right?
Yeah.
Like God like hardens Pharaoh's heart,
Right.
softens Pharaoh's heart, like all these
100%.
types of things. I mean, like we see and
Yeah.
like God fearing. It goes back to this God fearing.
that's right.
Like you cannot be a follower
Yep.
of Christ,
And see,
but be a
and
God
acknowledge.
fearer.
Yeah.
You know, and see and acknowledge.
Yeah.
You know.
He also seems
Yeah.
like he was, or they were polytheistic. They already
Sure.
had like
Yeah.
a full group of deities, and so why not add this other god who currently happens to be working
the most
for them,
powerful
you
at
know?
the time. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
again, like I mean, sorry, we're talking about the dreams of Pharaoh and everything again too. I didn't think about this until this week. 7 years again, like
Yep.
this just complete wholeness number. You know, it's like, dude,
Yeah.
like what a number.
Yeah.
What a number. 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
It's just fun how God like does that stuff, right?
Right.
Like it's like there's just so much to it,
Yeah.
you know, that it's like little nuanced things that like, yeah, sure, you know that, but then it's like when you see it played out over and over again, you're like, oh.
Speaking of how God works, dreams.
Oh,
Have you guys ever had a dream? First off, do you have any recurring dreams? This doesn't have to be from God, but I will interpret them now if you present them to me.
All interpretations
What's-
belong to God, so
do you know?
can go ahead and
also,
do that. Come
before
on.
we do that, can I give you like the worst dream? Like I guess like
Yeah.
it would be recurring. The
I'll take
worst,
that, yeah.
The worst
Dude.
dream is when I've had this one a lot over my life. I don't have this
Yeah.
like frequently, but over
Yeah.
my life I can remember several of these. When you are in a fight and you cannot punch the
Yeah.
person. Like it's like slow.
It's like your
Have you
fists
ever
are
had
stuck
that?
in cement.
You can't like
Never
do
had
it,
that.
and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't.
You've
What
had
is
this?
happening?
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
had it too?
Or
like when
running,
you're running.
if you're
Yeah,
running.
when you're running,
Horrible
dude. You've not
feeling.
had these?
Are you guys okay?
Oh, it's the worst.
I've had that dream over the course of my life 10
Yeah.
times or so.
And then
don't
I
know.
wake up, I'm
Yeah.
like, should I do jumping jacks right
Yeah.
now?
I'm
Because
like-
I'm like, oh, this is
whatever,
great. I can
whatever
move.
I'm
Yeah.
doing, I just can't do
Yeah,
in that
it's so
moment is the
frustrating.
worst dream I
Y'all need
had.
to loosen your sheets a little bit. You got the
Yeah,
like
dude.
side tuck going on. You're
Yeah,
like
maybe so,
mummy
dude.
in there. I'm wondering
Yeah.
why I'm dreaming about not being able
I'm
to
telling
move.
you,
Right?
like hands tied, can't
Yeah.
move. Like
Oh, I
it's
feel
like,
that.
yeah.
No, I got nothing on that one.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's bad. I couldn't tell you what I dreamed last night.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not
I
good at
know.
remembering my dreams,
No.
actually.
I've heard of some people do like dream journals where they write it because they say you
Yeah.
forget like 90% of your dreams within
Yeah.
the first 5 minutes of waking up. So
Yeah, and you can wake up and tell somebody about it, and
Yeah.
then that'll sort of cue it a little bit, but it's astonishing
Okay.
if you don't. It's
Where-
gone.
goes away.
Where does deja vu play into this?
oh, I don't know, dude.
Oh,
Like
man, we got
what a
wizards on the pod
wild
today.
thing.
We got
Wizards,
other gods.
demons, gods, snakes, magicians.
Yeah.
We got deja vu.
Have you ever had it? I've had deja
dude,
vu.
I've had deja vu
like
talking
I
about
dream,
deja
and
vu.
then I don't until
Think
it
about
happens. Until it happens. Well, say that again.
I've had deja vu talking about deja vu
guy
before.
just
Yo.
broke the
Like
law.
we were talking about having deja vu, and I had a moment where I'm like, I feel
I've
like
done this.
We're
before.
all
literally crazy.
So I've had, and like I can remember back to the
Yep.
dream, you know, of how it played out. It may not be perfect, but like I've had that a couple of
Yeah.
times.
I think
weird,
it's a
man.
scam.
Do you?
I'm anti deja vu.
Whoa.
I think
a hot
basically
take.
like you have a lot of things that are floating around in your
Yeah.
mind. That's
Yeah.
what happens
Okay.
with like non-god dreams.
Yeah.
And then your brain plays this weird trick on you as you're experiencing something to make you think that you have
You've already-
experienced it before. But when I've experienced what I think is deja vu,
Yeah.
I'll try and predict what is going to happen next, and that doesn't work. If
That's good.
deja vu was true, you should be able to be like, and now that guy's gonna hiccup. And then when Nathaniel doesn't hiccup,
Trombone.
oh, you're tromboning my anti-deja vu.
Oh,
No.
no.
All right, give me the
Oh.
alternative takes. What you got on deja
I don't have anything. I mean,
Are you a time
there's-
traveler? And you just been holding out on us?
Yeah, explain it without explaining time travel.
Yeah, man.
I don't
or
know.
revision.
I think what it is, for me, what it is it is like some sort of, I mean, yeah, there's truth to what you just said. I mean, there's like a dream that becomes a little bit of a reality. I mean, I don't know, like can God not give you dreams that become reality?
He can.
So I think it's a dream
Tends
that
to
becomes
happen in Joseph's
reality,
life.
and you
Tends
know,
to happen.
yeah, maybe your mind is playing it on you, but like, I mean, there is a moment where you're like, what is
dreamed
this?
this before. Yeah.
I have dreamt this before.
It's fascinating.
And this is, and maybe it doesn't like entirely come true, but it's like, but I mean, God's been in the dream business for a really long time.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were more attuned to the spirit, this deja vu would actually be
That's
predictive.
right. We just need to pray
Or maybe
more
we
about
need to have better dream journals.
maybe. Write it down.
What if you could just track the dreams? What about Monsters Inc? Where does it play in this? It's not about dreams. No, I'm just kidding.
Where does Inception come in all this?
Oh, no, that's a good question.
Okay,
so-
so
Have you guys ever had a dream from God though?
Oh,
feel
so
like
this
that's
I was literally
Oh,
like,
sorry, go ahead.
what about like continuationists,
Yeah.
like churches, like in all these with dreams, visions, prophetic impressions, like all that kind of stuff, miraculous gifts?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that done? Is that gone? Yeah, come
Adam?
on.
I don't know that I ever have, but I will not negate. If
Okay.
clearly God,
God is
does
still
it.
able.
Amen.
Yeah.
I don't recall any
Like
in my own life.
continuationist versus cessationist types of churches and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that God is still in the business of working supernaturally in our lives.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I
Totally.
lean on the side of believing. I wished that I could experience it. And I have prayed for different sort of manifestations of the Spirit before.
Sure.
And I think even like, it's kind of like a little bit of a running joke that I have done just in the past in like pastoring and stuff. But like, I'm always curious to hear people's dreams. Somebody like shows
Yeah.
up on a Sunday and they're like,
Yeah.
I had the weirdest dream last night. And I'm like, come, let me interpret it. And I'm like kind of joking, and I hope
Yeah.
that's not blasphemous. But I also kind of like, I don't know. I want to put dreams in the category of somewhere between scientific and supernatural.
Yeah.
That like,
Sure.
why I have no reason why God couldn't and wouldn't work
Yeah.
through that. I also want to say that you can also have weird thoughts after eating a bad burrito. Right?
Sure.
So like
Sure.
both of those things are
that
true.
was just bad food.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, you watched a scary movie, so of course you had a scary dream. Like, that's a thing.
Okay, I'm gonna blow your
Yeah.
mind here.
Go for it.
Come on.
Not blow your mind. You're gonna. This is something you didn't know about me.
All right.
So when I was a kid, I had a side hustle. My grandfather's full-blooded Cherokee Indian. I used to go to powwows. I used to
Okay.
do some like dancing and stuff at
Whoa.
powwows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Right?
We
Yeah.
need videos.
I don't think that, praise the Lord, cell phone videos were not a thing
Pics
at
were
this
different.
point.
We
I
need
was,
VHSs.
I was young. We were that was not our family. Our family didn't have the camcorders. And I used to make and sell at some powwows and stuff like this. Do you know what I made and sold?
Dream
Dream
catchers.
catchers?
Dream catchers.
Nice.
I, don't,
Also have-
I think there is one in a box that my mom kept somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And dream catchers, which
Yeah.
Native American, like it was like it originated with the Chippewa
Yeah.
tribes
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
So how
the
do you
Native
feel about
American.
that now? Is that
Is
that witchcraft?
I mean, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I was way too young
Yeah.
to really process any of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. And, but, like, good dreams pass through, bad dreams become caught, all this other kind of stuff. So I never, like, I didn't have bad
I don't
dreams.
know.
I'm just
Yeah, you had a lot
I
of
mean,
dream catchers.
Yeah,
there.
dude, it's like my
God,
room was filled with them. And,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously,
Fascinating.
it's one of those things. I mean, like, even going back to the continuationist versus cessationist type of thing. I mean, like, I think God is able to do whatever. He
Sure.
is still sovereign. He is in control.
That's right.
But the reality is, I don't think we see it play out, like these prophetic gifts play out the same way they did in Acts. I don't know how they play out. I just know that I don't think we see it play out like it is
Yeah.
now,
And maybe it's a
I'm-
culture thing.
I'm skeptical of
Right.
people that believe it is. This is just Chris talking, like not like chapter verse or whatever else, but I get a little skeptical because I'm like, okay, well, a lot of people thought the world was going to end in 2000 too. I mean, like what's
Yeah.
Nostradamus or whatever, who, believed all these things and didn't really come true and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like the reality is God's sovereign. He can do whatever he chooses. Scripture is
Yeah.
100% our final authority. And, because I think,
Yeah.
and the reason I say that is because the dreams in Joseph's day were like scripture and the truth that you held on to. But because now we have scripture, we hold on to it
Yeah.
as opposed to the prophetic word
That's right.
that someone has. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So like that's where I'm at, like God can do whatever,
Yep.
but I hold on to this not
is-
someone's prophetic word
That's right.
that comes through.
That's
anymore.
really
It
good.
is a gift that we have the Bible to test everything against.
Yes.
To say like God's not gonna do anything contrary to His
Yeah.
word. So if somebody comes up with some sort of crazy vision from the Lord and it's not consistent with Scripture,
Yeah.
that's an easy no for us.
Right.
The real problem here is that I believe that God does do miraculous things, and I've
Yeah.
seen Him do it before.
And that's the danger that we have now.
Yeah,
well,
right.
God doesn't do the supernatural anymore.
Right, you don't want to go on that end. And then at the same time, there are people out there who are scamming, people who
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
wolves in sheep's clothing,
Yeah.
people who are like preying on like people being foolish and buying into their visions of what, like we could go on. And the problem is we don't know the percentage.
Yeah.
So like let's say that 100 people are saying that God
Yeah.
did something and it's a
Sure.
miracle and whatever. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Are 30 of them fake? Are 70 of them fake? And it feels like our minds, we're just trying to like kind of intuitively pick a number and that's where we land.
Yeah.
Like most of it's fake. Or
Also, by the way, I mean,
Right.
you did ask, but like dream catchers, like God is the one that holds all those things. He protects us, so a dream catcher doesn't. So clearly, that is.
You're not
I-
pro
100%.
dream catcher
I mean,
anymore.
I'm not like. I think you can have it, like.
We go on record.
Chris's dream catcher.
Would you like to go on
business
I
is-
record?
know. I
right
felt like I
now.
needed to go on record
Yeah.
there of saying that, but now I'm gonna get an email.
It's
from
a sponsor of the pod.
Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher
Go to
Chris.
chris'sdreamcatchers.com and no, I mean I'm just saying like that's the downside
Yeah.
is like, hey, no.
Well,
Like, God is ultimately in control,
Right.
in charge of those things. He's the one
Yeah.
that protects me, not a
Yeah.
dream catcher.
Well, and I think back to like even
or
what Paul
Ruby
says.
or a
yeah, right.
Or even like an
Oh.
amulet of a saint. I think that's like a.
oh man.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah,
in
now you got the
certain
Catholics on you.
cultures, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
I got the dream catchers, you got the Catholics. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make everybody mad. No, but seriously, like there are some temptations I think
Yeah.
out there, and even in pseudo-Christian ways, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
I love a lot of the saints. Like, I'm more pro saint than I ever thought I would have been.
Wow. Yeah.
And yet, having a picture of Saint Anthony on your
Yeah.
visor in your
Dude.
car is not going to protect
He
you from
can't
car
hear you.
crashes.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I have a-
and he's not listening.
He's kind of preoccupied worshiping Jesus forever.
They're great. A lot of them
I
are
don't
great
think he-
believers that we
Yep.
should model our
100%.
lives after, but
Yeah.
they are not like
Traveling,
hearing
lots
our
of people
prayers.
carry
and-
charms for traveling and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is wow.
Dude,
This
we could deep
went.
dive it. Yeah.
This went.
I mean, this did go.
This went. I liked it.
Yeah, it went.
Okay, last thoughts on Joseph, Genesis 41, 30 magicians, demons, dream catchers.
All the things.
I'll let you go first.
Oh man. I mean, I would go back to kind of the base of Genesis 41, and it is so true. Like God can change a lifetime of struggles in a single moment, and so
That's good.
make sure you're ready when that moment comes.
Yeah.
And ultimately, He is made perfect in our weakness. That's why we have
Yeah.
Christ. You know,
Yeah.
it's not you better get ready. Like,
Yeah.
but
When you're-
even in your failings, you still got to have the effort to do the things that God's called you to do, and let His strength supply the rest.
I said it in the message. When your meanwhile becomes your moment,
Yeah,
step into what?
step into it. Shoot your shot.
Come on, dude.
Shoot
I think
your
we
shot.
should- You've only got
Named
one.
this series
You only got
Meanwhile.
one shot.
I like
You know
that.
what
I
I
wish
was
we could go
thinking
back
of?
in time.
Yeah. Can we?
I am not throwing away my
Hamilton.
Yeah,
we
dude.
said that
Don't
the
throw-
other day.
don't
We
throw
actually
away that
said
shot.
We said that the
Don't
other day
throw
in our
away.
deal. It was between Eminem and Hamilton.
Yeah. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot.
You only got
shot.
one shot.
Yep.
I don't think we can put that on. What
No,
about you,
probably
Josh?
Probably not. Yeah, I think my final thought would just be: it seems like there's all this like tension around making a good decision, and we're like worried that we're going to do the wrong thing, and like, will we even take our shot when it happens? And I'm just struck by like listening, like
Yeah.
being in a place where you're constantly prepared for what
Yeah.
God is going to reveal to you is probably the best way to live.
That's right.
You guys are always joking. It sounds like a sports thing that I don't really understand. What's the thing about staying ready?
Oh, theologian Conor McGregor
Yikes,
once
there it
said,
is. Yeah.
"Big fight this weekend. He's back.
100 years
When you stay ready, you don't got to get ready."
But I think like obviously that's a great quote, right? And it's wonderful. I think like what staying ready looks like for the believer is like
Yeah.
staying engaged with the Spirit.
Yeah.
That means you're active in your prayer life. That means you're deep into the Word. That means
Yep.
you're consistent in all of your habits and practices. You're committed to the life of the church. You're like engaging with other believers, trying to follow Jesus. All of that puts you in the best place to be ready to hear from God.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry enough about fighting to hear him.
Yeah.
You're just sort of like, it's like you're not setting up date night so that you can finally talk to your wife. You're talking to your wife all week long.
That's good.
And I think the same needs to be true of our relationship with God.
That's good.
So you tied into what mine is everybody talks about Joseph surviving prison, but do we really talk about how promotion is also another test? Like you also have to survive success.
Yeah.
How many people do we know that are successful that failed?
Yeah.
And the reality is because they didn't do those things in the other times.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you are not in your hard times, if you are not staying in the Bible, staying in the Word of God, praying, seeking His face, deepening your intimacy with Him, and all of these things, if you're not dating your wife regularly when all things are good or bad, they can go south. And so the reality is like promotion is another test for Daniel, and he is going to survive success because of what he did while he was walking through the prison days.
Yeah.
And that was staying faithful to God, recognizing and relying upon His faithfulness and knowing that He's going to do the same thing there. And so I think like to the 25-year-old right now, what I would tell you is that if you are not doing the things that you need to do right now to dive into the faithfulness of God in your life and deepen the disciplines in your life right now, number one, he may not bring you to success because if you do, you may fall. And so you may not get to what you want to do because God's going to go, well, why would I, if you're not going to do this now, why would you do it when you're successful?
Might be protecting you in his kindness in a weird way.
And 100%. And like,
because you're not prepared.
And protecting his glory and protecting his ministry and protecting all, like
protecting other people.
How many young pastors right now want to have the influence that somebody else has? And the reality is when you meet some of those guys that are like up there, what you find out is they've just been really faithful to the Lord and like by God's grace, they are where they are.
He who is faithful in a little, faithful in a lot.
None of us are like famous and massive influence or anything like that. But like at 22, could either of you guys been doing what you're doing now? Like, I would have hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
People would suffer as a result of if 22-year-old Josh was in my shoes right now. People would die.
Jessica Jones, shout out Jessica Jones, who was on my team early, right when I came in from corporate sales into, and so her reality is always like, y'all don't even know corporate, Chris. and she's like, you're so different than you were even when you first started in ministry. Yeah. And that was in my 30s. And so it's like, yeah, dude, if I would have been miserable to work with and for. Yeah. And so, so, I mean, it really is. Promotion is actually another test for Joseph here. And we've got to be faithful in the small things before we'll be faithful in the big things. Yeah. So that was a fun podcast.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to go.
Hope you guys had fun.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go learn a magic trick.
Yeah, boy.
An illusion.
Maybe I could do that.
Do a trick on stage on Sunday.
And then say,
yo,
that was fake. It all belongs to God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Something. Yo, we have a trap door. No, I'm just kidding.
We have a trap
Kind of do.
Thanks for joining. I hope this has helped you live the Jesus life. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.